Blessings. Welcome to today's Law Enforcement Daily Devotional. This is kind of like the first time, I think, in this whole series, in the 6 months we've been doing this, that I'm coming to you at night. So you night shifters should appreciate this one. Today our read was in Isaiah 17 through 22. And this whole section is prophecies about what is going to take place in future events. And so it was really difficult to get some law enforcement takeaways because a lot of these were very specific prophecies. Chapter 17 is an oracle against Damascus. Damascus is north of Israel, and actually it's the oldest known city still populated in the world today. So there was a lot of talk in I think it was like 2016, 2017, when Damascus was being ripped apart, that a lot of people thought that this actual prophecy right here was being fulfilled. But very interesting read, and it's cool to look at that and think of things that are going on in future events and see how they line up. Chapter 18 was a prophecy against Cush, which was Ethiopia, which was a huge country back then, had a large army. Chapter 19, prophecy against Egypt. Then and verse 9 of chapter 19, it talks about their hope was misplaced. They didn't put their hope in the Lord, and it just, the proverb says, hope deferred makes a heart grow sick. And without hope, and you know what happens when people lose hope, and that's kind of there's a lot of that in this prophecy. Chapter 20 is a prophecy against Egypt and Assyria, against Egypt and Cush. But when you get into the body of 20, into the chapter, it talks about Egypt and Assyria. And you can look at that and go, wait, I thought 19 was a prophecy about Egypt. Egypt and Assyria, when it was spoken of in Isaiah, it was the furthest north and the furthest south, so it represented the ends of the earth. And when you would see a prophecy about Egypt and Assyria, it basically meant, red flag, this means the whole earth. So if you read it, you might understand that. If you hadn't read it, go back and read that and look at it from that viewpoint, that this is a prophecy about the earth, all of us together. And then chapter 21 is a prophecy against Babylon, which was a big nation back then, took a lot of Judah and Israel into captivity, and they were exiled there for a long time. There's also a prophecy about Edom, a prophecy about Arabia in chapter 21, and then chapter 22 is a prophecy about Jerusalem. And it kind of takes you by surprise. You see a lot of these big countries, some of them are enemies of Egypt, or enemies of Israel and Judah, and then you get down and you see a prophecy about Judah itself. Not Judah, Jerusalem itself, which is Judah. Jerusalem is the capital city of Judah, and Syria was the capital of Israel. It's late and I'm tired, so I apologize for the stumbling. 22 verse 11, we see that Jerusalem gave no glory to God for anything that they did, and that's a lot of it appears to be a lot of why this prophecy is about them and what's going to happen to them for not glorifying God in what they've done. It was a good read. Of course, any day in the Bible is a good read. Just weren't a lot of law enforcement takeaways today. Tomorrow we're in Isaiah chapters 23 through 27. Read ahead, come back here, and let's see if we can find something law enforcement takeaway-ish for tomorrow. In the meantime, you guys be safe, and I'll see you tomorrow.